On my birthday, my boyfriend set off the most dazzling fireworks display for his childhood friend. A passerby filmed the scene and quickly posted it online, and blessings poured in. His friends all thought I was a joke and teased, "What do you think about this? I can just sit back and watch." The video quickly went viral, and the comments section was full of praise for them being a match made in heaven. Listening to the joyful laughter coming from my phone as the fireworks exploded, the table full of delicious food in front of me felt like a lead weight in my stomach. Today was my birthday, and Ethan had said he would come home early to celebrate with me, but in the afternoon, he called to say he had a last-minute business dinner and would be late. I believed him and was planning to wait for him to come home so we could celebrate together. But I never imagined that the business dinner he mentioned was setting off fireworks with his childhood friend, Florence/Flora. How ironic. In the video, Ethan's handsome face, usually cool and aloof, was filled with smiles as he looked at Florence/Flora with tenderness. It was a smile I had never received. Before this, I thought he was just naturally not fond of smiling and didn't know how to express his affection. I curled my lips in a self-deprecating smile and silently ate the cake. The cloying sweetness spread in my mouth, and I suddenly felt like it was pointless. I picked up my phone and called Ethan. The call was quickly answered, and Ethan's voice was as cold as usual. "What's up?" As he spoke, I heard the sound of fireworks exploding. I paused for 2 seconds, swallowed the cake in my mouth, and asked softly, "Where are you?" "At work, get to the point." It sounded like he had left the banks of the Hudson River, and the sound of fireworks was gone from the other end of the phone. His voice was still calm, with no hint of guilt after lying. I glanced at the video on the tablet and felt even more pointless. "Let's break up. What are you doing again?" I chuckled coldly. "Check out the videos sometimes, Mr. Influencer." After saying that, I hung up the phone directly. Since I had brought up breaking up, I shouldn't stay at his place any longer. I glanced at the untouched food on the table, got up, went to the kitchen, and found takeout boxes to pack everything up. Then I went to pack my luggage and cleaned up all the things I had brought. After finishing all of this, I took a cab back to my old apartment. After graduating from college, my parents bought me a small apartment in the city. After I got together with Ethan, he always said that our homes were on the east side and the west side, and it was too troublesome to travel back and forth, so he had me move to his place. But thinking about it, wasn't the distance between our homes the distance between him and me? It seemed close, but our hearts were separated by the Pacific Ocean. Back in my long-lost old apartment, I cleaned up a bit and went to bed. When I woke up the next day, I found only a few messages on my phone. "What's wrong with you? Move back when you've calmed down, don't be too willful." It seemed like he went home last night and knew that I had moved out. I didn't reply to his messages and went about my own business. This kind of thing wasn't the first time it had happened. Before, Florence/Flora would always look for him whenever something happened, even being scared of the thunder at night and asking him to come over. I had made a fuss, argued, and questioned him. But he said, "Someone cynical always thinks the worst." Every time, after he abandoned me to go to Florence/Flora, he would send me roses afterward and coax me a little, and I would continue to be deeply trapped in this relationship as if nothing had happened. But now, I'm tired. In the evening after work, I saw him standing outside as soon as I stepped out of the company door. Suited up, his face was handsome, and his figure was slender, like a model walking the runway, with exceptionally excellent body proportions. Passers-by focused their attention on him. In the past, I would have walked up and asked him to get in the car to avoid people staring. But now, I just wanted to pretend I didn't see him. I walked towards the bus station on my own, and Ethan walked a few steps to catch up. He didn't mention that incident at all and said calmly, "It's Jason's birthday today, he's treating us to dinner." I stopped in my tracks and looked up at him. "Okay. Getting in the car, there was a moment of silence. As the wind blew in through the window, I smelled a faint scent of jasmine. It was Flora's scent. The scent wasn't unpleasant, and I suddenly wondered, do you like the smell of jasmine? Ethan's narrow eyes flickered slightly. It's okay. Okay? Then how could I always smell that scent on you? I didn't say anything else. Arriving at the agreed-upon hotel, they were already waiting inside for a while. Flora was surprised to see us come together. Ethan, Olivia, you're here. We've been waiting for you for a long time. I smiled calmly and looked at Jason. I'm sorry, I came in a hurry and didn't bring a gift. Jason was Ethan and Flora's childhood friend, and Ethan always brought me to gatherings with them, so we gradually became familiar. I gave it, no need to apologize. Ethan pulled me towards the table. I didn't know if they did it on purpose, but the remaining 2 seats were exactly opposite each other. I let go of his hand and walked straight to the opposite side to sit down. Ethan's expression changed slightly, but he didn't say anything and sat in the empty seat next to Flora. I knew what his friends were thinking. They never approved of Ethan and me from the start, and were lukewarm towards me. Before, I wanted to have a good relationship with them and gave them specially selected gifts during holidays. But I never saw anyone use them. It seemed like they didn't want to accept me from the bottom of their hearts. I was too stupid. I only understood such an obvious thing now. I didn't say a word and quietly ate the dishes. Ethan chatted with them with ease, his hands never stopping peeling shrimp. He usually never ate seafood unless someone helped him shell and dub one it, because he thought it was too much trouble to do it himself. However, he didn't mind the trouble at all now, peeled a whole bowl of shrimp and moved it in front of Flora, then slowly took a wet wipe and carefully wiped his hands. This was a treatment I had never received. Witnessing all of this, my heart felt heavy. Saying I wanted to let go, but it was still hard to see it. Jason also noticed his actions, secretly sized up my expression, and nudged Ethan, teasingly saying, "Don't favor one over the other, peel some for your girlfriend too." Ethan seemed to react and looked at the empty shrimp plate on the table. He said, "Bring another plate." "No need." I calmly took a sip of my drink. "I don't like shrimp." "Then eat fish." "I don't like it." Ethan frowned slightly, his eyes sweeping across the table. "What about braised pork?" "I don't like it." A look of surprise flashed in his eyes, as if he didn't expect me to say that without hesitation. I met his gaze, calmly took a napkin to wipe my mouth, and added, "Anything from you, I don't like." "Olivia, are you angry?" Flora said cautiously. "Why don't you eat this bowl of shrimp?" "Don't be mad at Ethan." Her timid appearance made me seem like the bad guy. "What can I be angry about?" "You guys continue. I suddenly remembered that I still have some work to finish, so I'll leave first." I smiled calmly, picked up my bag, and was about to leave. "Don't. Are you still upset about Ethan setting off fireworks for Flora? Jason said deliberately, his eyes full of provocation as he looked at me. Hearing him mention this, Flora said, "I'm sorry, Olivia, I was in a bad mood at that time, and Ethan thought of this trick to make me happy." Ethan quickly apologized to Olivia. Ethan frowned upon hearing this. "I just set off some fireworks. Why should I apologize?" His words froze the atmosphere in the room. Flora curled her lips at me where he couldn't see, as if silently declaring her dominance. It was ridiculous. The person who did something wrong didn't even know they had done anything wrong. Just like before, he would never realize his mistakes, and thought that he could just coax me, and this would be over. I smiled. "Yes, you're right, the fireworks were pretty. Continue next time." Saying that, I left without looking back. At the moment the door closed, I heard Flora's voice. Ethan, hurry up and chase after her to apologize. Olivia is angry. Don't worry about her. She'll be fine in a few days. His words pierced my heart like a sharp sword. What had I done in my previous life to make him so confident? I slowly walked out of the hotel. The night breeze in autumn was cool. I strolled down the bustling street. All the couples passing by were loving and enviable. In the beginning, before Flora came back, Ethan and I were just like them. Holding hands tightly, unwilling to let go, afraid of not being able to find each other. So, why did it become like this? My breathing was heavy, and I felt a little breathless. Seeing an ice cream stand on the side of the road, I thought for a moment and went to buy one. At the moment I got the ice cream, I vaguely remembered what he had said. Knowing that you'll have cramps during your period, how can you still not control yourself from eating ice cream? I took a bite blankly. It was salty. Boss, this ice cream doesn't taste right. My voice trembled. The boss glanced at me and handed me a tissue. Girl, wipe your tears before you speak. I looked up. My vision was blurry, and I realized that tears were dripping on the ice cream. No wonder it was salty. I sniffed and turned to go home. As soon as I got home, Ethan sent a message. Are you home? I looked at it but didn't reply. Not long after, he sent another message. Everyone didn't enjoy their meal today because of you. We'll treat you another day. I still didn't reply. He probably ran out of patience and called directly. I put down my phone and ignored it. When I came back after washing up, the phone had long stopped ringing. Before going to bed, I habitually scrolled through my moments, but I accidentally saw a post from Flora 5 minutes ago. Ethan seemed to have hired a driver, and he and Flora were sitting in the back seat. In the photo, he was lazily closing his eyes to rest, while Flora was looking at the camera shyly in a pose leaning against his arms. The caption was, "Turns out, after all these years, I'm still your first choice." The corners of my lips curled into a faint self-deprecating smile, and I replied to her with a congratulations. The next day, I got ready and went to work. As soon as I opened the door, I saw breakfast placed on the floor. I didn't need to think to know who made it. I picked up the breakfast and went downstairs, throwing it into the trash can in the neighborhood without saying a word. Looking up again, Ethan, with a dark face, appeared in front of me. You threw away the breakfast I bought for you? His words contained displeasure and hidden anger, his deep, dark eyes staring straight at me. I said, anything from you, anything you give, I don't like. I calmly walked past him, but he grabbed my arm. Olivia, aren't you overreacting? Is this overreacting? I looked at him calmly. Didn't you treat me like this before? You only know that this is overreacting? He had a serious stomach problem, and the doctor told him to have 3 regular meals a day. To take care of his stomach, I specially signed up for a class to learn how to make healthy meals. But none of the healthy meals I made ever entered his mouth. If I hadn't accidentally seen him give the healthy meal I made to Flora, I wouldn't have known how long I would have been kept in the dark. Ethan was speechless and said after a long while, her constitution is relatively poor, she needs healthy meals more than I do. Is that so? One has a stomach problem and the other has a poor constitution, you two are a perfect match. I didn't have time to chat with him and left, shaking off his hand. Next, I focused all my attention on work, turning a blind eye to the messages he sent. Even the gifts and food that were delivered, I returned them untouched. Friends asked me to go shopping and watch movies, and I no longer hesitated. I did whatever I wanted to do, and I felt much freer. Without Ethan and Flora, my worries were reduced by more than half. All that was left was the joy of being alone. If Jason hadn't suddenly called, I would have almost forgotten their existence. Olivia, when are you coming? We're all waiting here. You're the only one missing. I looked blank, waiting for me to do what? Aren't you and Ethan treating us to dinner? Hurry up and come over, we're waiting for you. After the words fell, the other side ended the call directly. Jason sent me an address and a private room number. I pursed my lips, feeling that it was time to make things clear. I followed the address he sent to find it, only to find that this was the restaurant I had mentioned before. At that time, I had told Ethan about coming here, to taste whether the dishes here were as delicious as people on the internet said. But he always said he was busy and didn't have a chance to come. I followed the waiter's guidance to the private room. Before I could even go in, I heard Jason's voice. This Olivia has such a big temper, she needs to be invited 3 or 4 times for a meal. Ethan has already lowered his face like this, and she still doesn't give him a good look, she's spoiled. Florence/Flora smiled and said coquettishly, girls are L like this, it's normal to have a big temper. Olivia is just too insecure and doesn't quite trust Ethan, she'll be fine once she figures it out. In my opinion, you two have the best chemistry. If you hadn't focused on your studies and didn't want to be in a relationship, you would be the one by Ethan's side now. Hearing this, my mind went blank. Ethan had a crush on Florence/Flora? So I guessed right. That's why he was unconditionally tolerant of her. It turned out that she was the unrequited love of his life. Let's go in. Don't just stand there. Ethan's voice came from behind. I turned around and saw him, clutching the bag in my hand. Go in to do what? To hear you announce your new relationship? My face was cold, and I turned to leave. Jason and Florence/Flora came out hearing the voices. The two looked at each other, and Florence/Flora said repeatedly, Olivia, you're already here, eat before you leave. I looked at her indifferently, no need, I can't eat looking at you two. The two's faces changed slightly, and the smile on Florence/Flora's face almost couldn't be maintained. Olivia, what do you mean? I didn't look at her, but focused my gaze on Ethan. She calls you every time something happens, and you always rush to her without hesitation. I didn't understand before, now I understand. Is it very interesting to play unrequited love with me? Ethan's face was cold. What nonsense are you talking about? I've said it before, I treat Florence/Flora as my sister. Florence/Flora's face turned pale. My gaze swept over them. I suddenly felt disgusted. All my enthusiasm, in their eyes, might just be a joke. No matter what relationship you and Florence/Flora have, I still have the same thing to say, we broke up, don't come looking for me again. Saying that, I left without looking at him and left this place. Back home, I deleted everything related to him. This time, I will completely remove him from my life. After all, being stupid once is enough. Any more is foolish. After removing Ethan from my life, I focused all my attention on work. I worked as a translator at a publishing house, and the work came one after another, making me exhausted and leaving me with no time to think. The boss saw that I had dark circles under my eyes and couldn't help but laugh. I haven't seen you work so hard before. Why are you so energetic now? I suddenly thought about it, and I felt that nothing is more important than work. I moved my stiff neck and looked up, only to find that no one was in the office. Startled, I turned to look out the window. The sky outside had long darkened, and the street lights on both sides of the street were dazzling. It's so late, I murmured in surprise. In the past, I was always the first to leave work, but I didn't expect that there would be a day when I would be the last to leave. The boss laughed softly, the smile in his eyes obvious. You're working too hard, it's already 8 o'clock. I was wondering why there were employees who were so willing to work overtime. It turned out that they were too busy to remember the time. Hearing the boss's teasing, I sighed helplessly. He straightened up and straightened his tie. Let's go, the employees are working responsibly, as the boss, I should also be responsible for protecting the safety of the employees. I'll give you a ride home. No, no need. I'll just take a cab. I felt stressed when I talked to my boss, let alone sitting in the same car. Hurry up, or I'll deduct your salary. Hearing this, I quickly packed my things and followed him. The boss said he would send me home, and I couldn't refuse, so I agreed. When I arrived at the neighborhood, I got out of the car and thanked the boss with a smile. Turning around, I met Ethan's gaze staring straight at me, not far away. His thin lips were tightly pursed, and his face was displeased. The boss noticed his existence and asked, "Do you need my help?" I forced a smile. "No need, be careful on the R." Ode. The boss drove away, and I walked into the neighborhood calmly. Ethan couldn't hold back his emotions and walked towards me, his eyes stained with a thin layer of anger. "Who is that man?" I glanced at him coldly, without saying a word. He grabbed my arm angrily and repeated, gritting his teeth, "Olivia, who was that person just now? Is it any of your business?" I tried to shake off his hand, but I couldn't break free. "Let go! Don't forget that we've already broken up." 6. I didn't agree. "You want to break up with me? What's the reason? Why should I give up?" so confusedly. I looked at him with a sneer. "You don't realize where you went wrong. That's why I want to break up. If you have any dissatisfaction with me, you can tell me directly." I said it, and then what? I was told that I was insensible. I was wondering what kind of girl can be sensible enough to watch her boyfriend show concern for another woman without any reaction. "Ethan, I'm really tired. Don't come with these meaningless entanglements anymore. Don't you think it's degrading? Are you minding that I set off fireworks for Flora that day?" Look, even in this situation, he always calls her the intimate Flora, and he always calls me by my full name. Sometimes I even thought that Flora was his girlfriend. I took a deep breath and asked calmly, "Do you know what day that was?" Ethan was stunned for a moment. I said, "That day was my birthday, but I didn't get your birthday wishes and gifts that day. What I got was your deception." I lied to you. It was my fault, but I didn't want you to be angry." I looked at him silently, full of disappointment. I said so much, but he still couldn't get to the point. "I'm tired after working all day. Can you let me rest for a while?" Ethan hesitated, grabbed my wrist, and didn't want to let go. "Olivia, we..." Before he could finish speaking, the phone in his pocket rang. Being close, I could see the name jumping on his phone as C. "Reen, your Flora is looking for you again. Go quickly." I pushed his hand away hard and turned to go home without any hesitation. Ethan didn't chase after me when I walked into the corridor and looked back. He was no longer there. I retracted my gaze and smiled mockingly. The next day, when I came to the company, my colleague came over with his phone as soon as I sat down. "Olivia, have you seen this video of a couple with a stranger? I didn't expect there to be a sequel." I glanced at it. Ethan in the video was facing away from the camera and couldn't see his expression clearly, but the smile on Flora's face hugging him couldn't be concealed. The surrounding street lights were bright, and the passing vehicles were honking, as if providing music for this beautiful scene. It's so sweet." The blogger said that he met this couple on the way home from getting off work yesterday, and felt that it was very atmospheric, so he took the picture. That's right, he also spent a lot of money to set off fireworks for her before, giving the people of the whole city the opportunity to witness this event. I'm so envious. They must be happy. Look at how much this tycoon dotes on the young lady. Maybe we'll hear good news about them soon. Hearing my colleague's words, disappointment was like cool water, cooling from my throat to my stomach. It's not that he doesn't understand love, it's just that he doesn't love me. I saw through everything and suddenly felt relieved. Smiling and responding, "Yes, they are a good match. I hope they will get married soon, as you wish." It's best if the two of them are locked up and don't go and harm innocent people anymore. But I didn't expect that Jason, whom I hadn't seen for a long time, would specifically come to the company downstairs to wait for me. I walked out, and he came towards me. Olivia, can you go and see Ethan? He's in the hospital now. Is it any of my business? I said indifferently. I broke you. P as you wished. What else are you dissatisfied with? Jason was speechless and said with difficulty, I thought that Ethan didn't treat you with care before, but after you broke up, I realized that he likes you. I sneered. He said again, Ethan set off fireworks for Florence/Flora. What do you think about this? If you mind, I said lightly, I can just sit back and watch. No, don't you mind? What kind of boring questions are these? I rolled my eyes at him and walked past him. Jason quickly chased after him. Olivia, please, just go to the hospital to see Ethan. You know, his stomach is not good. He drank too much at the business dinner yesterday, and now he's lying in the hospital with a stomach bleeding. He's calling your name. These words are so ridiculous. Don't you think Florence/Flora is the best match for him? Take the opportunity to bring the two of them together. After saying this, I walked to the side of the road and took a cab home. Ethan and I haven't broken up yet, and he's already bringing him and Florence/Flora together. Now, I don't know what kind of play to act out. I didn't pay any attention to any information about Ethan. Except for my family, I didn't answer any phone calls. 2 days later, Ethan appeared at my door with a tired body. I ignored his wandering gaze and took out the key to open the door on my own. Olivia, can you give me some time? Let's talk about it. His face was pale, and he looked like an eggplant beaten by frost, unable to muster any energy. There was a bit of pleading in his eyes when he looked at me. What else do you want to talk about? Seeing me let go, his eyes shone. Afterwards, I followed him to the banks of the Hudson River. Looking at the opposite bank, a breeze gently brushed past my hair. I asked in confusion, what are we doing here? As soon as the words fell, brilliant fireworks soared into the air, instantly lighting up the banks of the Hudson River. I looked up at the fireworks bloomin' in the air in a daze, feeling choked up. Olivia, I was wrong about what happened before. I apologize to you. This time the fireworks are blooming for you, exclusively for you. Ethan's eyes contained deep love, and he looked at me with tenderness. The roar of fireworks accompanied his sincere words. I was stunned. I asked back, are you not afraid that Florence/Flora will be angry when she finds out? What's it to her? Olivia, I said, I only treat her as my sister. Is that so? My expression was indifferent, and I didn't feel happy at all looking at the fireworks. But your first choice has always been her. She always looks for you when she has problems, and you will not hesitate to choose her between me and her. I turned to look at him and asked seriously, do you know what love is? This time it was his turn to be stunned. I shook my head helplessly. Ethan, what you did is meaningless. I'm not angry that you set off fireworks for her, nor am I angry that you lied to me for her. When you know what love is, you will naturally understand what I'm thinking. What I want is uniqueness, not a second-best choice. It's a pity that he still doesn't understand this truth. This time, no one paid attention to who the protagonist of the fireworks was, because everyone habitually substituted him and Florence/Flora into it. Hearing my colleague mention this, I smiled indifferently and responded without much care, is that so? I didn't pay attention to the follow-up. The boss said that I had been performing well at work recently and allowed me to study abroad, asking me if I wanted to go. If it were before, I would think twice. Go! Only a fool would give up such a good opportunity. I agreed immediately. The boss was stunned for a moment. Don't you need to discuss it with your family? No need. My parents support my choice very much. No, I'm talking about your boyfriend. I paused and smiled. Sorry, I'm single. I agreed to study abroad in half a month. Because Essie, I had never been abroad. I had to apply for a passport temporarily. At night, I was lying in bed talking to my parents about going abroad, and they supported me as I expected. My mother said, I don't object to you going abroad, but you have to discuss it with Ethan, and don't do anything that you will regret. Hearing this, I choked and said very calmly, Mom, Ethan and I broke up. Ray, really? He broke up? No, it's me. She seemed not to believe it, holding a skeptical attitude. That's right, when I was chasing him, it was so lively, and I asked her for advice on how to pursue a man. For him, I also learned how to cook and learned how to be a good girlfriend. I like him so much, how could I give up easily? Olivia, you have to think clearly, there's no going back if you break up now. I've thought it over very clearly, Mom, don't worry, I won't regret it, I assured her again and again, and she gave up the idea of persuading her to make peace. You've grown up and have the ability to think independently. Mom supports you. If you're tired outside, just go home, your parents can still afford to raise you. I smiled and said okay, but I felt a pang of sadness. At home, I was my parents' precious baby. My mom wouldn't let me near the kitchen. I hadn't done a single hard day's work in years. But after getting together with Ethan, I felt like I'd become a superhero, suddenly capable of anything. It was almost funny. I shook off those unrealistic thoughts and went online. That's when I saw the video Ethan had posted. In it, he was suited up, his expression serious and cold as he said, word by careful word, the girl in that video is not my girlfriend, she's my sister. Please stop spreading these unfounded rumors. I already have a girlfriend, and you are causing problems for her. As the video continued to go viral, he came out to clarify things. After watching the video, I checked WeChat and found that the company's group chat was blowing up. Everyone was lamenting the collapse of their ship. I gotta say, doesn't the girl in the second video look a lot like Olivia/Liv? Yeah, she seems to be wearing the same outfit she wore that day. Wait, is Olivia/Liv this tycoon's girlfriend? Seeing my colleagues mentioning me by name and tagging me to make a statement, I pursed my lips and typed a quick response, not me, thanks for the invite. Even as I sent those words, I felt a little guilty. My colleagues didn't believe me and kept digging, convinced it was me. Helpless, I replied, I'm single, you guys are going to ruin my chances of finding a boyfriend, please leave me alone. My boss immediately chimed in to vouch for me. Only then did they quiet down. Just when the group chat had finally calmed down, a video arrived from an unknown number. It was Ethan's explanation video. Along with the video, he wrote, Olivia/Liv, if you don't want Florence/Flora in our lives, I will try my best to avoid contact with her. You are the one I love, and you always will be. If only he'd known that sooner. I sighed deeply. I don't go back to someone, I texted. Once I was sure the message had been sent, I immediately blocked the number. But Ethan didn't give up, infiltrating my life in every way possible. 3 times a day, gourmet food was delivered to my apartment or the office. In the afternoon, there were exquisite pastries and afternoon tea, all my favorite things. He's learned his lesson and specifically told the delivery guy not to accept returns. I couldn't exactly take it to his company and return it to him. Wow, Olivia/Liv, you're living the high life. Eating so well. A colleague saw what I was carrying and came over. An idea popped into my head. I handed it over. I'm trying to lose weight. Do you want it? Really? For me? Wait, is this from your admirer? I smiled nonchalantly. Are you going to eat it or not? Yes. From then on, whenever Ethan sent something that I couldn't return, I would pass it on to my colleagues. Time passed, and finally, the day of my departure arrived. I hadn't told anyone about this except my parents, because I was afraid of complications. So no one came to see me off. Listening to the staff announcements, I dragged my suitcase to the boarding gate. Everything went smoothly. I found my seat, took out my eye mask from my bag, and put it on. It was my first time flying, and I felt extremely nervous. I could only try to suppress my fear by sleeping. I was drifting off to sleep when I heard a familiar voice. "Excuse me, could I please get a blanket?" Soon after, I felt warmer. Too sleepy to open my eyes, I drifted back to sleep, enjoying the warmth. Suddenly, the plane hit turbulence, and the cabin shook. I woke up with a start, tore off my eye mask, and looked around. And there, unexpectedly, was that familiar figure. Ethan looked calm, his voice gentle. "Don't worry, we'll be past this soon." My tense nerves gradually relaxed, and I asked stiffly, "What are you doing here?" He looked straight at me, saying nothing, but somehow conveying so much. I pursed my lips and turned to look out the window. After a few moments of silence, he suddenly spoke. "I'm sorry." "What?" "When my mom was pregnant with me, she had a severe hemorrhage. Flora's mom discovered her in time and got her to the hospital, saving her life and allowing her to give birth to me. At that time, her mom was also expecting, but because of this, she lost her baby. My mom always felt like we owed their family a life, so she told me to take care of Flora. She has a heart condition and can't handle stress. That day, she had a fight with her family, and I was afraid she would do something drastic, so I came up with that plan. She wasn't my first choice, not then, not now, and certainly not ever." Ethan spoke steadily and calmly about their family's past, looking at me with a hint of trepidation in his eyes. I didn't say a word, listening quietly as he finished. After Ethan finished speaking, he was silent for a long time. In the silence, we reached our destination. "Thank you for sharing. That was a very interesting story." "Excuse me, I need to get out." Olivia/Liv. Someone behind me politely said, "Excuse me, sir, may I get through?" Ethan stepped aside, and I took the opportunity to follow the other passengers out. It was my first time in a foreign country, and I felt lost. After getting my suitcase, I started looking for the exit, following my boss's instructions. Ethan quickly caught up. "I know my way around here. Let me take you." The airport was a bit complicated for me, so having someone to guide me would be helpful. I didn't refuse and followed him. "How long will you be staying here?" 2 years. He was silent again after hearing this. After exiting the airport, I randomly hailed a cab, and just as I put my suitcase in, I saw him get in as well. I froze outside the car, a little angry. "Get out. You're unfamiliar with this place and could easily get scammed. I'll take you to your apartment, then I'll leave." He had me cornered, and I reluctantly agreed, getting into the car with a cold expression. My boss had arranged a studio apartment for me. It wasn't big, just right for one person. After I got out of the car, Ethan followed, claiming to be checking the safety of the neighborhood. "Done looking? Please leave now that you're done. You need to be safe living here alone." "Let me take another look." I curled my lips slightly and said in a low voice, "As far as I'm concerned, you're the biggest danger. Please get out." Ethan's body stiffened, a hurt expression on his face. I ignored it. Knowing he was in the wrong, he turned and left. During my time here, I not only delved into my studies but also learned how to relax properly. On weekends, I would occasionally go out with friends and share the American diner food I made. My friends all raved about how delicious it was. They would always finish everything, even exaggerate. Ing by using toast to soak up the remaining sauce. Seeing them enjoying themselves made me feel content. Their reactions undoubtedly gave me a sense of accomplishment. But every time I came home at night, I always felt like someone was following me. Just like now, I gripped my backpack nervously and walked with my head down. That strange feeling was back. I had reported it to the police, but they said there were no suspicious people in the area. I had to fight alone, pretending to call a friend to try and scare away the person behind me. Suddenly, a stray cat jumped out from somewhere, scaring me into screaming, and my phone fell to the ground. Just as I thought I was going to fall, the person behind me quickly stepped forward and caught me in time. Ethan's worried face appeared before me. "Are you okay?" Seeing him, the anxiety in my chest suddenly dissipated. "It's you? Have you been following me these past few days?" "Yeah, I was afraid you might be in danger." I was furious, glaring at him as I bent down to pick up my phone. "You're the biggest danger." All that time, I was so scared, I almost gave myself a heart attack. With so little courage, you still dare to walk home alone at night. "You." I was about to scold him when I heard him say, "I'll walk you home every night from now on." You don't want your parents to outlive her parents, do you? I rolled my eyes at him. "Why don't you just curse me?" "It's not a curse, I want to be prepared." I was too lazy to pay attention to him and hurried home. After returning home, I quietly opened the window and looked out, only to find that he had stood outside for a while before going to the apartment next door. I felt a complicated mix of emotions. Just then, Florence/Flora suddenly sent a message. She said, "I'm sorry. I apologize for what I did to you. I was so stupid to think that without you, he would be with me, but now I know I was completely wrong. After you left, I realized that when Ethan said he treated E like a sister, he meant it. He has no other feelings for me. He truly loves you. If possible, I hope you two don't miss out on each other because of me." I stared blankly at the message she sent. Suddenly, I heard the melodious sound of a wind chime colliding at the door. I quickly went to open the door, and Ethan, dressed in casual clothes, looked surprised. He was holding a small, unhung wind chime. As if sensing my confusion, he explained, "If you hang this up, you'll know right away when someone comes." His eyes no longer held the coldness and indifference of the past, but instead revealed tenderness and affection. Just like that year on the basketball court, when he was freely sweating and I was cheering in the audience, and he looked over at me,